Hi, everybody. We're here at English Digest. I'm Leah.
And I'm Tom.
And we're going to take a look at our career section for the month. And we're going to learn about something so fascinating. We're going to learn about flavor science. I don't know about you, Tom, but most of the time when I go out and buy a candy bar, I always kind of complain about it not tasting the way that I would like it to taste. And I guess I can blame the flavor scientists for that problem.
Indeed, and I suppose that lots of candy bars or whatever use artificial ingredients to sort of simulate that flavor. It's not really the taste of nougat or chocolate or peanuts or whatever. It might be artificial, and that's what flavor science is all about. So let's find out what this is all about, everybody. Let's read the entire contents of our lesson right now.
When you go to a store, you can see and purchase products with a huge range of flavors. If you enjoy products like spicy potato chips or sweet sodas, you should thank flavorists, also called flavor chemists. These scientists are responsible for devising new flavors to use in foods. Getting the flavor of something natural into something processed and mass-produced isn't always smooth sailing. Artificial flavors, or combinations of natural and artificial flavors, are the key to making that happen. Flavorists have to have expertise in chemistry to do their jobs. They create recipes for each flavor using a blend of oils, essences, and extracts. The work might start at a drawing board with a gathering of ideas, but it always ends up in a laboratory. There, the flavorists try out different formulas to find one that works. Sometimes that process of experimentation takes a long time. The flavorists change the ingredients and add different amounts, looking for a close match. It's possible that an artificial flavor will never come out quite the same as that of the real thing it's imitating. Artificial cherry and banana flavors, for instance, usually don't taste much like real fruits. The flavor of an authentic fresh cherry or banana is difficult to reproduce. However, that doesn't have to be a total defeat. Many find that they like the taste of cherry or banana candies in their own right. Think about the hard work of flavorists next time you snack on a tempting piece of candy or bag of chips. And flavorists also work on things like toothpaste, pet food, and medicine. If you're keen on figuring out how they produce such interesting flavors, maybe you should think about checking out a career in flavor chemistry.
Okay, everybody, it's time to talk about the contents of today's lesson. Again, it's our career unit, and many of our dear listeners are young and in high school and ages like that, so they might be still wondering, hey, what am I going to do for a career in the future? Well, you might have an interesting career in the world of flavor science, and I suppose there is a lot of money to be made in figuring out how things taste and figuring out a way to reproduce flavors in certain kinds of foods. Now, when you go to a store, you can see and purchase products with a huge range of flavors. That is true. Of course, in the old days, when I was very young and you went to buy ice cream, there were only 2 flavors available most of the time. You could get chocolate or vanilla and sometimes strawberry. But nowadays, oh my goodness, if you go to Baskin-Robbins or places like that, you can get, what, maybe 50 flavors or 100 flavors or 1,000 flavors or whatever. You've got a huge range of flavors.
That's right. I thought Baskin-Robbins was always popular for its 33 flavors, right? It's really popular. I don't know if that's still the case.
I don't know the exact number, but I do know the number is part of the logo. Check it out.
Yeah, that's right. And it says here, going on, if you enjoy products like spicy potato chips or sweet sodas, well, there's someone you should say thank you to. You should thank flavorists, also called flavor chemists. I don't know about this. I think it's really, really interesting to have a job as a flavorist. When I think of a flavorist, I think of somebody who's sitting in a laboratory and sniffing things and tasting things, and that's probably what the job is really about. A flavorist or a flavor chemist is working on getting the smell and taste of things to be like what you would like to eat or what you think they should taste like. And that's different from a perfumist who just works with the smell and is trying to combine together these different scents to make a really nice perfume. A flavorist is combining flavors of taste and flavors of smell to make something that you want to eat. So flavor chemists, just to mention, chemists are people who work in chemistry or have a background in chemistry and use their chemistry in different ways. So more than likely in their profession. So a chemist is someone who works with chemistry every day. Chemistry being the way different elements come together and form compounds or form molecules or form liquids, and working with the creation and the breaking apart of that in chemistry is a very common thing. These scientists are responsible for devising new flavors to use in foods. I see this sentence and I'm kind of scared. I don't know if I need new flavors in my foods. I just want the flavors my foods already have.
Well, you never know. There are new flavors coming out all the time now. I can imagine someday they're going to have avocado-flavored soda or something like that. So, of course, you need to have people working for these food companies to come up with those new flavors. And, of course, here in Taiwan, there are lots of food companies, and they probably employ people who do this very thing and probably make a nice living doing so. Now, let's move on now to the next paragraph here. It says, getting the flavor of something natural into something processed and mass-produced isn't always smooth sailing. Smooth sailing here does refer to when you're taking a sailboat out onto the sea and you're going along very well without any problems. There are no storms or anything. So yes, it's smooth sailing from here all the way to the Philippines, for example. But in this particular case, it just means the situation is smooth. There aren't any obstacles or problems and stuff like that. But unfortunately, getting that flavor into something natural or processed isn't always smooth sailing. And we're talking about foods that are mass-produced and they are also processed. Processed foods, of course, are not natural. They're made in a laboratory. So, of course, again, that strawberry soda is going to be processed. You're not going to actually have any soda with strawberries in there, just the taste and the smell and the color.
That's right, and it's going to have different things to make it possible to sit on a cabinet for a long period of time so that they can mass produce it. And if something is mass produced, it's produced in large quantities in one go, so that you have enough of it to send out to 50 different states. If you're in the United States, 50 different states and all the different stores, then you are mass producing. If you are making something, like for example, let's just say candles. If you're making candles at home and you go to a market and you sell it with your 200 candles maybe that you've made over 5 weeks or 5 months, depending, then that's not something that's mass produced. Mass produced, you need a facility where you have lots of machines that can create the product very quickly over and over again and have it all be basically the same flavor or the same consistency. So how do you do that? Artificial flavors or combinations of natural and artificial flavors are the key, are the secret, are the main thing that you need to making that happen, to make it smooth sailing for creating, these flavors that should kind of taste natural, but that can be processed and mass-produced. What do you have to do? Artificial flavors, combination of natural and artificial flavors.
Yep, so indeed it's probably cheaper to manufacture these foods using artificial flavors and not natural ones, or you could have a combination of natural flavors and artificial flavors, and this of course is the key to success, that combination, or just simply using artificial flavors because again it could be cheaper, or maybe using natural flavors only might lessen the shelf life of those products. They might spoil quicker if you use artificial flavors. or if you use natural flavors, excuse me. So again, you've got to work this out in the laboratory to determine which is more cost-effective. And yes, indeed, that's what flavorists do. They have the expertise in chemistry. They have to have that expertise in chemistry to do their jobs. So if you have expertise, that means you have studied a subject thoroughly and you are now an expert. You have that knowledge. You have that expertise.
Right, and their expertise is in creating those artificial flavors. Just going back, artificial means not natural. So we talked about artificial versus natural earlier, but just to let you know, artificial means not natural or it means man-made. So you can have artificial turf on your football field. It lasts better and longer than real grass, and that's why you might have it around. Artificial flavors probably allow you to create your mass-produced flavors. So they do this. Those flavor chemists or flavorists do that with their expertise. They create recipes for each flavor using a blend of oils, essences, and extracts. So if you think about it, if you have a flavor, say you want to have a wild cherry flavor, a grape flavor, a banana flavor, a pear flavor, you want all these different flavors, you need a recipe, a chemical recipe for each flavor because you're not using natural ingredients, you're kind of making it in the laboratory, and you get that recipe, a combination of different things with a blend, a blend of oils. So I don't know if these are like scent oils, essences, maybe an herbal extract or a lemon extract or a vanilla essence, and extracts. So these are the three different things, right? Oils, essences, and extracts. Extracts oftentimes is when you take an element of, like for vanilla, you'll take some part of vanilla and you'll pull it out of the vanilla bean and you'll create a liquid form, maybe adding some alcohol in it so you don't have to pull so much out, because if you would only use vanilla bean, it would be very expensive. You add the alcohol in to make it cheaper.
Right, so these are different ways to get things from plants. You can get the oils, the essences, or the extracts. And extracts, of course, as you said, is something that's pulled out of something. Like you might get a tooth extracted by the dentist, and that might hurt. So please take care of your teeth. And yes, some of these flavors might cause cavities, so be careful there. And that brings us to the midway point in our explanation for today. Let's take a break now and listen to our Chinese teacher.
听众朋友大家好，我是安娜。我们今天要带大家来认识一个很特别的职业，叫做调味师。调味师要做什么呢？当然就是调味啦。我们今天的文章啊是设计成文艺选填，所以还是要先看一下框框内到底给什么样的选项呢？当然今天这个所谓的调味师关键到底出现在哪里呢？出现在第一段第二句最后面。这最后面呢，所谓的 flavor chemists 味道的化学师，它其实是前面逗点之前 flavorist 的同位语。好，那么它同样也被称为所谓的调味师，就是我们今天重点啦 flavorist also called flavor chemists。好，那他当然干什么呢？他就是来负责来开发一些食品当中的新口味啊。所以像第一题在 for 之后当然就会加一个名词或动词 ing。 那么根据文意去判断的话，当然就是去设计一些新的口味，开发一些新的口味。好，那么当然这并不是一个很简单的事情，因为真正的关键是要把一些人造的味道，也就是天然跟人造味道的这种混合，其实是他们工作关键的目标。我们看一下第二段第二句的地方，第二句逗点之后的 or combinations， 这里其实是 artificial flavors 人造味道的同位语。也就是说呢，这句子是人造味道，也就是所谓的天然跟人造味道混合这件事情才是真正的关键。那么调味师就要有化学方面的专业知识啊，然后会用一些油啊、姜精啊，然后萃取物啦，来制定一些配方。所以第三格要 create 什么呢？要创造出到底要加什么东西进去啊？在英文当中这个字就叫做 recipe， 所以第三格答案选 J。We're
going to take a short break now, but please stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, welcome back. Let's continue with our lesson. We're talking about the interesting world of flavor science, okay? And, of course, people who work in this field are called flavorists, and they come up with new flavors for our foods, okay? So, of course, they need to determine how to have a nice mixture of artificial flavors and natural flavors and stuff like that, and putting them into processed and mass-produced products. And that isn't always easy. So, of course, these people need to have expertise in chemistry to do these things, and they come up with these recipes because they use a blend of oils and essences and extracts in order to come up with these fabulous flavors. And the work might start at a drawing board with a gathering of ideas, but it always ends up in a laboratory. So we have this phrase, drawing board. That's where you begin an idea. Let's start with a drawing board here. Or sometimes if an idea fails, then someone will say, well, back to the drawing board. We have to start all over again.
Right, we have to go back to the beginning, to the drawing board period where you're kind of putting everything up there on that whiteboard and trying to figure out how everything's going to go together. And it ends up, so in the end result will be that you will be in a laboratory. You can end up in a job that you like after studying for many years. You can end up in a relationship with somebody who is just perfect for you, or you can end up in a relationship with somebody who's not so great for you. End up just means to result in. At the end of it all, it will be here. So you end up in a laboratory. I've actually looked a little bit into what a flavorist needs to know. They need to know flavor formulation, so the creation of formulas, flavor application, which is how you apply these different flavors that you've created, and flavor chemistry, like does it work? Is it good? Does it make you happy when you smell it or you taste it? So those are things you need to know if you want to be a flavorist. And it's a job that you might have after going through and majoring in chemistry and everything. Then you might end up in a job after studying biochemistry. You might end up in a job as a flavorist. So our flavorists are in the laboratory. They're the flavorists. Try out different formulas to find one that works.
And a formula, of course, is kind of like a chemical recipe, okay? A recipe, of course, is a set of instructions and a list of ingredients for us to make some kind of dish. But these are scientists working in a laboratory, so they need to have these formulas. They need to have a list of different chemicals and things they need and what they need to do to produce these products and, how they need to mix these things together, if they need to heat them, if they need to put them in some kind of vacuum chamber or something like that. These are things that scientists would do. So, yes, they come up with these formulas, these recipes, basically, and they need to find these so that they will work, so that when a consumer opens up a can of soda, it will taste like the soda can says it's going to taste.
Right, and they don't die, because that's another thing that our flavor chemists need to be aware of is food safety. They need to make sure that they're making us something that doesn't turn us purple as we eat it. Sometimes that process of experimentation takes a long time. You can think about it when you're doing a science project at school. You're not just going A, B, C, D, and I'm finished. It's sometimes A, B, C, oh no, back to the drawing board, A, B, oh no, back to the drawing board, A, and you have to go back and fix things that went wrong, and that's your experiment. So that's the process of experimentation. That takes a while. You don't get it all right the first time. The flavorists change the ingredients and add different amounts, looking for a close match. So they might go, okay, we'll pour a little bit of this ingredient. So the ingredients here are like ingredients in a cookie recipe. You need sugar, flour, milk, butter, maybe not milk, butter. You need some, different things, eggs for sure, but those will be your basic ingredients. Here you need your ingredients like your banana scent or your granola scent to make sure that you get the flavor that you want. And they're looking for a close match, something that is just about right. Maybe not perfect, but just about right.
Right, and they try different formulas and they change the ingredients and they probably have some taste testers so they can have some objective opinions. No, this does not taste like bajao at all. It's too sour. It doesn't taste like the bajao I'm used to in Taiwan. Or no, this doesn't taste like holongo at all, dragon fruit. It doesn't taste like that at all. You need to start all over again. So indeed, they change formulas and stuff like that, and they look for a close match. It's probably not possible to have a 100% match, but they get as close as possible. It's possible that an artificial flavor will never come out quite the same as that of the real thing it's imitating. So yeah, that is possible, and indeed, I'm sure there are lots of flavors out there that come close, but they just aren't the same thing as the real thing. Ain't nothing like the real thing, baby.
Yeah, and that's the case with, say, artificial cherry and banana flavors. If you think if you've eaten cherry chocolates at Christmas time, sometimes you take a bite and you're like, oh, that's gross. Well, the person you don't want to thank in that situation is the flavorist because they didn't get the flavor right. Artificial cherry and banana flavors, for instance, don't usually taste much like the real fruits. Sometimes they taste something banana-like, but not really. So if you're okay with what it tastes like, then you're in a situation where we'll get to later in this paragraph. The flavor of an authentic fresh cherry or banana is difficult to reproduce. It's difficult to copy and create again, to make it happen again, right? Here, reproduce is not talking about making little babies, but it is a bit like that because you want to make a baby banana. You want to create a copy of the banana. However, that doesn't have to be a total defeat. Many find they like the taste of cherry or banana candies in their own right. In their own right here means just as being these candies, this banana candy or this cherry candy, and not that it has to taste like a real cherry or a real banana, they're okay with that. They think it tastes good as it is.
Yeah, I remember eating cherry candy when I was a kid, and yeah, it doesn't taste like cherries, but it's still pretty good. In fact, I think when I actually tasted a real cherry, I thought, wow, this is awful. I like the candy better. So yes, indeed, it's kind of an individual thing. There's no accounting for taste. And here is the next paragraph. It's actually the final paragraph. It says, think about the hard work of flavorists next time you snack on a tempting piece of candy or a bag of chips. Indeed, they don't just produce those in the factory without a lot of people working on them. So yes, flavorists will be working on the flavors for the chips and the candy. So think about what they're doing. And flavorists also work on things like toothpaste, pet food, and medicine. Who would have thought?
I don't know. I read this sentence and I go, gross, gross, ew. Because if you have to test out the toothpaste and make sure it tastes right, I don't want to be that one, that expert who's doing that job. And I hope for pet food, they actually get animals to check it out as opposed to human tasters. Don't know. If you're keen on figuring, so if you are interested in, if you're keen on it, figuring out how they produce such interesting flavors, maybe you should think about checking out a career in flavor chemistry. And again, I just checked into that. You have to get, you get a PhD or so in chemistry or food science with some specialties in biochemistry. That's one way to do it. Or you can go to France and become an apprentice and learn in a flavor house where you can, get a lot of skills. And a couple of years later, you come out and you can make fake cherries.
You certainly can. And of course, people always have to eat. So of course, this career is going to be in demand for many, many years. So yes, it might be a very wise career choice for you. Good luck to you if you decide to choose this career. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. Let's listen now to our Chinese teacher.
好，那怎么工作呢？先收集想法，先绘图，从绘图板开始，然后最后在实验室调出来。所以在实验室里面，调味师就会试不同的配方来找到一个成功的。第二段第6句这个地方我们要特别注意一下。当然第4格 try out different formulas 这个没有问题，是不同的配方来找到一个能够有作用一个有效的配方。特别注意这句话倒数第3个字的 one， 它其实是代替前面同样这句话所出现过的单字，叫做 formula 配方。因为句子当中已经出现过这个单字，所以再出现它的时候，我们就用 one 这个不定代名词。可是它有所谓的关系子句限定它哦。我们要找到哪一个配方呢？ That works 这两个字可以左右括号 that 是关代，也就是有效 works 真的可以调出那个味道的那个配方 one。 好，那么当然实验的过程有时候会有很长的时间，而且调味师他会不断的一些改变成分啊，添加不同的东西，就是要寻求相似的这一种很接近的相似物，要找出这个味道出来。我们接下来第3段的第2句特别注意有个分词构句哦，分词构句出现在逗点之后的 looking， 其实句子是有2个动词，第一个动词在逗点之前 change， 第二个动词出现在逗点之后，本来应该是 and look for a close match， 那么连接词 and 省略之后 look 直接变成动词 ing looking， 所以它是一个分词构句。那当然这个人造味道的结果啊，很有可能永远不会跟它模仿的真实东西是完全相同的，比如说像樱桃啊、香蕉这种味道就很难重置。第3段这边的第3句我们要特别来注意一下，因为这句话呢，其实一开始的 it 是虚主词，有一件事很可能哦，什么事呢？从 that 一直到句尾是真主词，哪件事呢？我们开始看 An artificial flavor will never come out quite the same as that of the real thing it's imitating。 好，主词就是这个所谓的人造的味道永远都不会出来，这件事情是蛮有可能的哦。可是后面出现了一个 as， 这里的 as 是像的意思，像什么？后面出现一个 that， 在这里的 that 很特别，它是代名词的功能，这个代名词带的就是前面的 flavor 味道这个字，什么的味道 of the real thing 这4个字可以画起来，它其实就是修饰 that 真正的 that flavor 那个味道。而哪个东西呢？比如说我们刚刚举的樱桃或者是香蕉这样子的东西，所以 it's imitating 这2个字也要括号，因为先行词是 the real thing， 关代 which 或者是 that 省略掉，它可以省略的原因是因为关代在括号里面当模仿 imitating 的受词。好，那么所以呢，这样子的一个职业啊，其实是非常诱人的，因为它是一个很专业的一个工作，而且它调出来的味道会让大家喜欢，所以或许你可以考虑，如果你喜欢化学，喜欢这样子的专业的话，可以考虑这样的职务哦。我是安娜，我们下次见。
All right, everybody, for English Digest, I'm Leah.
And I'm Tom.
And hopefully you can get out there and make the best cherry candy in the whole wide world.
I can still have cherry candy even at my now advanced age. Okay, that brings us to the end of our program. Please join us again next time for English Digest. Again, I'm Tom.
Leah.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.